It seems weird in an industry like SaaS, in which they throw out things like long-term customer value, CAC. There's all kinds of metrics that they point to. This is how we're successful. These are the things that we should rally around. Then you've got this ignorance or lack of understanding or lack of perspective when it comes to onboarding.
or blindness.
Yeah, blindness as well. And that's really interesting because you've got smart people who ostensibly do customer research. What are the pillars for a solid onboarding process that sets the stage for success for the company and their ability to serve a customer and keep them loyal and generate revenue for a long time and success for the customer? What are the steps that are non-negotiable so that the customer gets off to a running start? They're happy with the product, they're happy with their decision, and it's a win proposition for both parties.
Now, I would say 90% of the problems that a company faces in the onboarding process are out of the control of marketing, out of the control of sales, and out of the control of customer success. It is baked into the engineering design of the product. This is part of what makes it hard because the engineering team is so anxious to add the 14 extra features from the product pipeline in that nobody wants to go back and fix the crap they did early on. There tends to be in organizations an enormous reluctance to step backwards in the product development process and fix stupid stuff they did instead of just constantly layering on new features. To a large extent, with many companies, whatever you do on the customer success side around onboarding is basically trying to patch up the mess that was left by product development. This is part of why I think you need these sort of onboarding scripts where you have someone who's not familiar with the product go through the onboarding process and you
Mhm.
record that with their stream of consciousness. Because what you're going to see is lots and lots of things that if the user interface had been slightly different, this would have been obvious, but instead is completely hidden. Again, the example I was using of where there was in one particular step, there was an absolute vital thing you needed to see, but it was buried in a secondary menu. All you had to do is to bring it up to its own top level menu, and suddenly it's right in front of you. And it would have been easy. The short term fix is to have an explanation about when you need to do this. You won't find it in the top menu, but you have to go to this particular menu, and it's going to be the third item down in this particular menu. And that's what you need to choose. Where if you just design the product correctly to start with, I think part of this problem goes back to there is no there is no UX testing in 99.9% of SaaS products out there. It is completely being done in this closed hothouse environment that contains nothing but programmers. Even if you have a UX person, most of these UX people are not worth a damn because they can get the most obvious problems resolved, but they can't see where the problems are either unless you're doing a systematic UX testing program where early in the development, you're showing alternative versions of the interface to potential users and you're watching how they interact with the environment and whether or not they're able to figure out what's working and not working. Simply no companies do this kind of external UX testing during the development process. You get really bad software.
Hmm.
Even very large companies, anyone who has ever used Salesforce ever has experienced just how incompetent UX design can be. If you're a super expert and you've used Salesforce for 10 years, you instantly know where everything is buried. But if you've never used it and you're trying to produce a particular sort of report that says a particular thing, good luck. It is so deeply buried. This is why you have this entire infrastructure of Salesforce consultants come in and do what you need because the software is so badly designed that you can't figure out how to do it yourself.